You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible. Hey, folks, live look right now from the United States Congress, the floor of the House, where Democrats are pushing forward a resolution condemning Donald Trump's racist remarks. Let's take a listen.
And it belies a fundamental misunderstanding of our nation's promise that we are all created equal and that everyone has a role to play in building a more perfect union, not just white Americans, every American. We hereby recognize these words for what they are: offensive, hateful, and the people we represent deserve better. As a co-sponsor, I believe we must call out hate wherever we see it, whether in our own houses or in the White House. I urge all members to support the resolution. Words matter. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Reserve.
Gentleman from Georgia, reserve. Gentlelady from Texas.
I'm pleased to yield 1.5 minutes to the distinguished gentleman from Georgia, Representative Lewis.
Gentleman's recognized for 1.5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise with a sense of righteous indignation to support this resolution. I know racism when I see it. I know racism when I feel it. And at the highest level of government, there's no room for racism. It sows the seeds of violence and destroys the hopes and dreams of people. The world is watching. They are shocked and dismayed because it seems we have lost our way as a nation, as a proud and great people. We are one Congress, and we are here to serve one House, the American House, the American people. Some of us have been victims of the stain, the pain, and the hurt of racism. In the 50s and during the 60s, segregationists told us to go back when we protested for our rights. They told ministers, priests, rabbis, and nuns to go back. They told the innocent little children seeking just an equal education to go back. As a nation and as a people, we need to go forward and not backward. With this vote, we stand with our sisters. 3 were born in America, and 1 came here looking for a better life. With this vote, we meet our moral obligation to condemn hate, racism, and bigotry in every form. Thank you.
Gentlemen need more time?
All right, folks, let's go back to the House. I think they're giving John Lewis more time.
Do what is right, what is fair, and what is just.
Gentleman from Georgia.
So, reserve.
Gentlelady from Texas.
I'm pleased to yield 1 minute to the distinguished gentleman from Ohio, Representative Ryan.
Gentleman's recognized for 1 minute.
All right, folks, keep that audio up. I want to hear what Representative Tim Ryan has to say. And so here's what started this whole deal, folks, and that is, of course, Donald Trump's racist comments with regards to the 4 women of color who are in Congress, telling them they need to go back to the countries where they came from when 3 or 4 born in the United States. And so today they put forth a resolution. It was Speaker Nancy Pelosi who went to the floor. Leave his audio up, please. It was Speaker Nancy Pelosi who went to the floor, and what she then did was she actually talked about his tweets. I'm going to play it right now. This is what Speaker Nancy Pelosi had to say today that caused Republicans to lose their mind on the U.S. floor. Here we go. Go to my iPad, Henry.
Democratic and Republican, should join us in condemning the president's racist tweets. To do anything less would be a shocking rejection of our values and a shameful abdication of our oath of office to protect the American people. I urge a unanimous vote and yield back the balance of my
I was just going to give the General Speaker of the House if she would like to rephrase that comment.
I have cleared my remarks with a parliamentarian before I read them.
And take it. And I ask the words be taken down. I make a point of order. The gentlewoman's words are unparliamentary and ready to be taken down.
The chair will remind all members, please do not make comments toward personality-based comments.
Okay, then all hell broke loose on the floor. Republicans, they came up, they started losing their mind, acting a fool. Then Representative Steny Hoyer came up and said that her comments were out of line because you can't make personal comments from the floor against the President of the United States, calling him a racist, even though he's a racist. So what then happened was they then said that Speaker Pelosi could not speak for the rest of the day. So then Republicans wanted to take a vote to strike her comments from the record. It got so heated that Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, you saw him there from Kansas City, of course, member of the CBC, he got so sick and tired of all the nonsense that he said, what the hell, I'm out of here, and walked off the podium. Here we go to my iPad.
Ready to make a statement. I came in here to try to do this in a fair way. I kept warning both sides, let's not do this, hoping we could get through. Ms. Japal had a situation where we could be in here on another motion to take down words of a friend of mine. But we don't ever want to pass up, it seems, an opportunity to escalate. And that's what this is. I'll dare anybody to look at any of the footage and see if there was any unfairness. But unfairness is not enough because we want to just fight. I abandon the chair.
Wow. It was Congressman G.K. Butterfield of North Carolina, another CBC member, who then stepped to the podium. So what then happened, they took a vote to strike Speaker Pelosi's comments from the record. That failed. Then they took a vote to restore her speaking privileges. That passed. Now they go back to the debate over the issue of whether or not to issue a formal resolution condemning the comments of Donald Trump. Suffice to say, lots of drama. And also just to understand, again, just how absolutely crazy this whole deal is. We also, earlier today, outside of the White House, Kellyanne Conway, of course, one of, what's his name, spokesman, she actually said, some of them said, you talk about just nuts. They had this news conference, and she literally asked a reporter, what was his ethnicity? And he was like, what the hell does that have to do with the president's comments? She essentially has issued, not an initial apology, but sort of backtracking from that as well. Just again, utter craziness going on. Donald Trump, he loves all this drama. Of course, he's probably sitting in the White House, happy to hear his name being talked about. You have Republicans who are coming out saying, well, no, his comments really weren't racist. It's not what he was talking about. We really shouldn't focus on that, but we know what the hell that was. Go back to where you came from. Let's talk about it, of course, with our panel, Dr. Jason Nichols, University of Maryland, Department of African American Studies. We also have Kelly Bethea, Communication Strategist, and Malik Abdul, Vice President, Black Conservative Federation. Malik, Republicans, first of all, some came out yesterday condemning Donald Trump's comments, some saying absolutely racist what he had to say. Now, well, not sure. All these different things going on. What do you make of all of this drama that Donald Trump has unleashed?
Well, it's I agree with Senator Scott. The comments were definitely racially offensive. And some people will even call that xenophobic. The thing is that we have to deal with, and we have this in politics a lot, where people try to explain what someone meant, clarify a person's remarks. This is another example of such. We can assume what Donald Trump meant by what he said, but we have to deal with what he actually said.
And what did he say?
And what he said is that and even though he didn't name names, it was clear he was talking about 4 women, 3 of whom were actually born in America. So,
right, and said, go back to your country.
Right, and so the question that I've even been asked, because, I've been attacked on social media because the conservatives, it's like, oh, well, you're attacking Donald Trump. Well, no, I'm not attacking Donald Trump. I'm dealing with the reality of where we are. And this is one of those instances where, unfortunately, and I get Donald Trump, this is who he is. He's 72, 73 years old, so it's probably not going to change much.
Not probably,
but,
he won't.
Well, and he won't, and most people his age won't. But what I do know, and my message to not just the president, but just to conservatives in general, is that if your interest is in encouraging more black people to affiliate themselves with the Republican Party, then we have to be able to say, and we need our white conservative friends, our Republican friends also to say, okay, well, he went a little too far here. No one's going to just go, you're probably not going to find very many people who are just going to go in on him.
Actually, you had some folks who've gone in on him, even one Republican governor who said they were absolutely vile and racist.
Yeah, well, when I say go in, I mean, because, Lindsey Graham made comments that Senator Graham made his comments, and of course I agree with him,
Oh, Senator Graham's comments were sickening. Yeah. Calling them communists and that nonsense.
I'm not
calling
talking
them anti-Semitic. No, he was,
yeah.
Senator Lindsey Graham was shameful and despicable for what he had to say. He was gutless.
Well,
that's what he was. Calling them communists?
Yeah, well,
that was pathetic.
Unfortunately, we live in a climate now where even the president is being called treasonous. So the fact that
the president actually tweeted today about launching a treason investigation because of a news brief he saw on Fox.
I understand that, but my point here is that unfortunately that's the climate where we're in, where people use those type of loaded terms, phrases to really refer to each other, and you saw what played out on the House floor. That's just an extension of, where we are. But again, Donald Trump did not make this easy for us.
Kelly, at the end of the day, Democrats, you see what they're doing. First of all, they have to stand up to bigotry, stand up to racism. Donald Trump wants to play this same political playbook from 2020, from 2016. He wants to be able to say that, oh, they're hurting me, and he tweeted, I don't have a racist bone in my body, and all that sort of nonsense. And see, this is the thing that, again, to me, this is the difference. If you say racist, people say racist, you're not a racist. Mm-hmm. No. We look at your words. Mm-hmm. You said go back to your country.
No, absolutely. Okay,
black folks, Latinos, Asian, we all know what that means because it's been used against us for 400 years. Mm-hmm. We know what that means. He can dance around this. And then some Republican, he didn't mention race. He didn't mention anybody's name. It's like, no, pimp, that's not flying. And they should call him out for it and challenge him on it, because what it's also doing is solidifying what black people knew. That's the hashtag. We tried to tell you. We knew his ass was a racist when he ran. Y'all white folks, let y'all finally catching up.
I would challenge that statement and say not only did black people know that he was racist, but his voting base knew that he was racist. The Republican Party knew that he was racist.
He even said yesterday he didn't care if white nationalists would ride with him on this because a lot of people agree with me. Yeah. White nationalist.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, Richard Bannon is a white nationalist. And wasn't he on
Steve Bannon?
Steve Bannon. I'm sorry, not Richard Bannon. But everybody knew that Trump was racist when he was on the campaign trail, before he was on the campaign trail. For those who are, now aware, because they were too young to know, but the Exonerated Five, and we saw When They See Us and what Trump was doing in New York at that time. Like, he has an entire history of xenophobia and racism. And for people to be of the sentiment that, oh my goodness, I can't believe he said this, it's very disingenuous to me. I'm actually pleasantly surprised that the Democratic Party said anything at all on the floor, because it's been 3 years of him just spewing hate. And now all of a sudden it's like 2020, we want the presidency, so we're actually going to act like we're going to do something about it.
Jason, the bottom line here is Democrats want to expose him for who he is. He believes, and his people, this actually helps him with his base. Look, we know who the hell his base is, but at the end of the day, Republicans are now forced to defend his words. And they're simply showing their true colors by having to defend the racist words. We know what he said when he said, go back to the country where you came from. And when 3 of the 4 are Americans. And then also, by the way, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar has been an American in America longer than his own wife.
Right. And that was the point I was going to make, is that I don't think that Donald Trump, we oftentimes say that Donald Trump is anti-immigrant. He's not anti-immigrant. He's anti-black and brown immigrant.
Right.
You know,
he ain't got a problem with white immigrants.
Yeah, he's cool with white immigrants. He married 2 white immigrants. His
3.
mother.
Oh wait, no, she was.
Marlon
yeah.
Maples is American, but either way,
they all look. You know.
Yeah, they're all the same. He married 2 immigrants. His mother was an immigrant from Scotland. His grandparents on his father's side were both immigrants. He doesn't have trouble with immigrants. He has trouble with black and brown
Precisely.
immigrants. And I also think that it's not really an issue with Donald Trump, us finally knowing who Donald Trump is, or anybody figuring it out. I mean, if his words at Charlottesville didn't move you, or his words about Judge Curiel didn't move you, or his words about Mexicans in 2015 didn't move you, you know, then all of a sudden this is the breaking point. I don't really get that. I think that,
and he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. And his whole deal is going to be, I'm going to keep saying this. I don't care. There is no bottom, and that's the thing. All these white journalists, like Howard Kurtz earlier, Malik was like, well, you know, journalists need to be very careful saying that it was racist because Trump issued denial. Like, his ass don't lie. I'm like
10,000 confirmed
I'm like,
lies.
he known to lie. You acting like, oh, well, he issued denial, so I should take into account his denial.
Yeah, well, I don't think that Donald Trump is a racist, and I don't think that the people who voted for him think that he was a racist. I voted.
You know his ass a racist.
I voted for him.
Malik, you know damn well he a racist.
I voted for him, and I don't think that Donald Trump.
Do you intend to vote for him again
in 2020? Absolutely, without a doubt.
So you voting for a racist?
Well, you know,
was this comment racist? Hold up, was this comment racist?
It was definitely racially offensive.
What the hell is that?
What
the hell is that?
What's the difference?
It's the same thing.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, can you tell me the difference between racially offensive and racist?
Well, he said things that were racially offensive.
But what's the difference?
I'm sorry, or insensitive, or whatever you want to say.
Okay, but I'm just asking, what's the distinction between racist and racially offensive?
Well, I think that when we start,
I
think it's possible for someone to say racially offensive, homophobic things and not be actually homophobic or racist.
Okay, but if you said racist things a number of times,
several times,
like
when do you become
a number of times?
Well, if we're talking about the system of racism, I mean, we really should, you know, we could have a broader discussion of what that system.
No, we're actually no. Stop. We ain't discussing the system of racism.
I know, I'm sure all of us know, and that's why the same comments, you know, the things that I said on this show before, you know, the things that Louis Farrakhan has said that were anti-Semitic, you know.
We're gonna go with Louis Farrakhan.
Is Louis Farrakhan president of the United States?
It doesn't matter.
No, it does matter.
But it doesn't matter.
Does matter
about things that we have accepted.
Is Louis Farrakhan over the U.S. military? Does Louis Farrakhan have the nuclear codes? Does Louis Farrakhan? No, come on.
Louis Farrakhan gets to sit on stage alongside.
Hell no. Hell no. No. We are not about to flip.
Well, of course.
No, we ain't gonna flip this to Louis Farrakhan. We are talking about the person.
But he said homophobic.
This man is the standard bearer of your party. This man leads your party. This man controls your party.
And I've disagreed
so here's my point.
I've never voted for Louis Farrakhan on anything
because
he's not on the ballot.
But I know many of us who've actually supported.
Nice try. First of all,
voting for and supporting.
We ain't even going down the Farrakhan rabbit hole because it don't work.
It's not a rabbit hole.
No, it is a rabbit hole because you want us to chase.
No,
this is the question, Malik. This is the question, Malik.
You asked me.
You said racially charged.
And I said,
what the hell was it? What is that? Racially charged? Is that what it was?
How many racist statements before you become racist? That's my question.
For me, it's hard to conceive someone being racist pursuing the policies that he's pursuing
like what?
that are beneficial to black and brown.
Like what?
Personally. So we're talking about the criminal justice reform package. We're talking.
Let me ask you a question. No, wait, hold on. Let me ask you a question. Who instituted affirmative action? Who was that under?
Oh, I don't remember.
Richard Nixon.
Okay.
Who ran on the Southern Strategy?
Was that Nixon?
Nixon.
Yeah.
Who also launched the war on drugs, where one of his own advisors, his notes revealed that it was specifically targeted at black people?
That was Nixon.
Richard Nixon. Who used the N-word himself, who degraded black people in recordings in Oval Office? Richard Nixon. So the shit don't mean nothing about affirmative action if his other actions were also race-based. So to say that, oh, well, first of all, the First Step Act, let me be clear. The First Step Act ain't an act for black people. It's an act for anybody.
Well, it's
federal
part
prison.
of a criminal justice reform package.
So
if we're judging him by the same standard that Obama and any other president.
So his immigration policy helps black and brown people?
Well, you mean black people who are here?
Black and brown people? You're saying that his immigration policy, TPS, sending Haitians back to a place that was violent and where they had uprisings.
Hold on. Not just Haitians.
I don't
also trying to cut the rug underneath from Liberians who were in this country, calling those countries shithole countries, making it clear that he wanted more visas for white immigrants.
But I don't think the immigration
So I understand you disagree with that. No one's calling you a racist.
I don't think the immigration policy is racist.
When does someone become racist? If they made several racially offensive statements. You know, when honestly, it's like if you cheat on your girlfriend once, when do you become a cheater? If you've cheated 17 times. You know, when can we call a spade a spade? That's my question.
You can, but I think we use...
Okay, so he's a racist. Do we agree?
But no, we don't agree. And I don't agree with the comments that John Lewis said, because John Lewis also said similar comments about John McCain. And of course...
Say what?
Well,
hold on, say what?
You don't remember the comments that John Lewis
What did he say?
He said that voting for John McCain would take us back to the days of George Wallace standing in the schoolhouse door.
And he what line?
Oh, so now...
If you are advancing policies, if you are advancing voter suppression policies, you're taking us back to George Wallace Day.
Was that what John...
Yeah, okay.
Is that what John McCain was doing?
Nice try, Malik.
Because he said the same thing about Mitt Romney.
Nice try, but this is real simple. You voted for a racist?
Yeah, and
you're going to vote for a racist again?
I'm going to vote for him in 2020.
Right, and the reality is, what that says is, you don't give a damn what he has to say about black people.
Well, that's your opinion.
No, that's what it's revealing.
I'm going to die black, so the fact that you...
Yeah, but you also got a problem with your Mississippi Confederate flag.
But you're not going to challenge my blackness on this show.
No, I'm not. Hold on.
Because you can't tell me what I'm concerned about as a black man.
I'm not.
You can't tell me what I'm concerned about as a black man, or I can't be concerned about black people because I'm voting for Donald Trump. So
what I said is you're voting for a racist. That's what you're doing.
Well, that's your opinion.
And that's what you know. That's a fact.
Well, that's your opinion.
What you're doing.
That's your opinion, and I just disagree.
So, fact of the matter is,
yes,
you're voting for a racist. You voted for a racist.
Despite whatever you're
going to still vote for a racist, and that's undeniable.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
Let's talk about, of course, my folks at 420 Real Estate. Of course, they're back. MarijuanaStock.org has another great investment opportunity. If you were lucky enough the last time to invest in their last crowdfunding campaign, you know they raised a ton of money in just a few months investing in legal marijuana farms. Those initial investors now own shares of a publicly traded company. And last time, again, a lot of people missed it. They were sending emails saying, hey, I want to get in. Now they have a new investment opportunity that you can check out, folks. I'm talking about industrial hemp CBD. For those who don't know, the hemp plant is the cousin to marijuana with a much higher concentration of CBD, which means hemp CBD gives you all the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Until recently, hemp farming was practically illegal in the United States and heavily regulated by the DEA. However, the 2018 Farm Bill that was passed makes it legal to grow hemp CBD in the U.S., creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. They need land to grow in all of the plants. This makes for an incredible investment opportunity, and that's where our good friends at 420 Real Estate come in. Their business model is real simple. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed, high-paying tenants. That's right, they are hemp CBD landlords, and you can get in on the action. You can invest in this crowdfunding campaign for as little as $200 up to $10,000. All you got to do is go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org to get in the game, and get in the game now.
Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.